do a confidence video, but I want to do a little bit of a flip on that and talk about like confidence for introverts because I am an introvert and I know y'all don't believe me, but trust me, I am. But my thing is like why I decided I want to talk about confidence specifically for introverts is while I was in New York, I was talking to Fona and Kim, and we're talking about vlogging and talking about just like creating like your own media, not talking about like entrepreneurs and like business, all these things. So we're talking about these things, and as we're talking, I'm saying that like I really want to vlog more, I really want to do certain things, but it's really hard for me. Like it takes a lot. Like even just filming right now, like I have to prepare myself like mentally. I have to like get myself together to be in a space to do that. And because of my personality in some ways, like I have an on switch and I was just like, okay, it's time. And I can do that, but naturally, like I'm an introvert. So the way I describe myself is I'm an introvert who knows how to pretend to be an extrovert. And pretend to be an extrovert, sadly, in our world is like really necessary. Mostly like in terms of like thinking about like socializing, in terms of thinking about anything to do with like work and income and stuff like that. Like more times than not, like unless you work on a computer and like never have to deal with people, you're going to have to interact with people. And just in life in general, if you want to have a social life, you're gonna have to interact with people. So I just want to talk about like how do you do that? Like what does it look like when you want to be confident but you're an introvert? Like what steps do you want to take? And I again like most of my videos, unless there's somebody else with me, this is all coming from my perspective and like what I think. So please take what you need, leave what you don't. But for me, first things first, I think it's about having self-care, like overall. And what I mean by that is I think it's really important that when you're not necessarily interacting with people, you are doing things that you need to like fuel yourself up. So for example, for myself, if I don't have to interact with people on Sundays, like I will stay home. And that works very well for me. That's what I need for myself. But everyone's different. Everyone needs different things. Yeah, so everyone's different. Everyone needs different things. But overall speaking, like I know I need some time alone because like most introverts, like you need time by yourself to recharge, time to not see people, time to not talk to anybody. You just need time to sit in yourself, you know? And like for me, sitting in myself means meditation. For me, sitting in myself means like writing because I love to write. For me, sitting in myself means what do I do sometimes? Laying in bed, watching Netflix. If you're into yoga, do yoga. Like there's different things that you might need to do by yourself in order to recharge yourself. And if even if it's like you just need some time to work. Like I work from home a lot actually, and I guess like that's a blessing for me because working from home, like I can still get the work done, but I get to be by myself, and like I get more work done if I just get to like sit inside of myself, you know. So that's one thing I would say to take into consideration is like do the things that you need to do outside of the time that you need to interact. So when you do have to interact, it's not so draining because you're a fully charged battery. And that's the way I look at it is like if dealing with people is going to like, you know, take your battery life down, what do you need to do when you're not dealing with them to bring it back up? Particularly if you're somebody like myself who like deals with anxiety or like has any other mental health stuff, like you need, I can't stress how much you need to do things that make you feel good because it can be really exhausting to be around people. For me, it's the energy. Like I just be feeling everybody's emotions and thing. I feel all the energy. I feel everything, and that's a big part of why I'm like I need time by myself so I can like feel myself and not feel everybody else. So that's one thing. I would say mentally preparing yourself. So in terms of like thinking about how to be confident just really means comfortable. Like as an introvert particularly, like you need to be able to be comfortable in spaces with lots of people, and to be more comfortable you have to know what's coming and prepare yourself. So sometimes preparing yourself might be a longer period of time, so like planning things in your schedule and being like, okay, there's a networking event happening in a month, and then you know way ahead of time in that month that you have to do with like X amount of people, and you're ready for that. Or it might mean preparing yourself might be a shorter term thing where it's like someone invites you to something that's happening this evening. So what can you do if you really want to go? Like, also, y'all, please say no if you don't want to do things, because like it's not worth it. It's not worth it to drain yourself to do things you don't want to do. So say no. But that's a side note. But also, I would definitely say, like, what do you need to do to prepare for that? So if you're like, I really want to go to this, maybe once you find out, something you need to do is like walk yourself through the process. Maybe you need to pick out your outfit. Maybe if you have the right outfit. I always tell people, like, part of the reason why I dress the way I dress and I try to look good is because it calms my anxiety and it makes me feel more confident when I look on the outside how I feel on the inside. So if that's something that you know you need, start thinking about your outfit. The second like, okay, I'm gonna go. Let me think about what I'm gonna wear, because if I wear this, I'll be more comfortable. This will make me feel better in this space. It might be something like that, or it might be, okay, if I go to this event, but between the time of the event, I need to like fit in the gym, or I need to fit in some yoga, or I need to fit in some meditation, because those things calm me down. You know what I'm trying to say? So calming yourself down will make you more confident, because that energy you exude of like being comfortable within your own skin comes from actually doing other things that support you being comfortable in your own skin, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because again, confidence like just means being comfortable being you in spaces outside of yourself. So let me just repeat that for y'all. As an introvert particularly, confidence really just means being comfortable being you in spaces outside of yourself. Because a lot of times as introverts, we're comfortable being us. It's not that we're not comfortable being us. It's like, I'm only comfortable doing that with myself, being my full self. But like, how can you bring your full self, everything, all of you, in other spaces and still feel comfortable doing that? And then that comfortable to everybody else will look like confidence. Because people always be like, oh my gosh, I don't believe you're an introvert. You're so confident. You do this, you do that. It's like, honey, this takes so much work. And then when I go home, I'm like, bad now, crash. Can't do it. Don't want to talk to anybody. Leave me alone. And that's how it is sometimes, you know? So if you can figure out how to bring that comfortability that you have with yourself when you're by yourself to other spaces, and that means just being comfortable being you. So if you're a real quiet person, you don't have to walk into a space and start being real loud. Like, that's not necessary. Like, you don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. Like, if you're quiet, because I'm a real quiet person, so when I go into large crowds, I continue to be myself and I continue to be a real quiet person. But that doesn't mean that I'm rude, or doesn't mean I don't talk to anybody. That means that like the ways in which I interact with people might be in a more personal one-to-one basis. And it is more like sociable, like I'm at a party. So I'm going to a party and I want to be confident in this party. And I don't want to like rely on like, you know, alcohol or whatever else substances to be confident or comfortable myself. What I tend to do is, one, wear something that makes me really comfortable. Two, do the prep time of like doing whatever I need. So usually like I need to have some time to myself right before I go out. And then three, when I get there and I'm walking through this space, I'm a little bit more quiet. I'm a little bit to myself, and I have one-on-one conversations. So like I might have a drink in my hand, and I might pick a person that I already knew or have some kind of comfort level with, and I'll talk to them about anything that I feel like talking about at that time. But I'll keep my conversation more, you know, personal. And sometimes people join the conversation, that's okay. But if too many people join for me to be comfortable with, I usually like, you know, slowly excuse myself and like I continue to work the room, and that's okay. That's completely okay to do. Don't overwork yourself. If this is not something that you feel comfortable doing, don't put yourself in a situation where you're talking to a bunch of people that you don't want to be talking to. And if you can have a buddy, like one of my closest friends, she's so good to me for this. Like whenever it gets really awkward and people are talking to me, they want to talk to me. Like they specifically want to talk to me and have a conversation with me, but I don't really have anything to say and I'm feeling uncomfortable or whatever. And I'm just all introverty. She'll just like casually, you know, come into the conversation and help support the conversation, and she'll talk too and like keep it going. And if I need to, I can like step away because she kind of takes the conversation over, and she knows she's doing this and I know she's doing this, and it helps me so much. This girl saves my life. But yeah, so that's one thing that like I totally think it's important to do, is like have smaller conversations with people. And that's in a social setting, and I think more in like a networking setting, it still applies. I do the same thing when I'm networking. I figure out who I really connect with, and I find something that we both can connect on. So whereas like if I'm in a social event, I might just shoot the shit. When I am at more of like a networking kind of event, I know I need to like make a certain impression for like business purposes. I'll find something that we have in common, but I'll keep the conversation more on a smaller basis. So like more like maybe 1-2 people that I'll talk at a time, and then take a break, and I might go have something to eat or drink some water, just a break to sit in myself, come back to me, check in with me, and once I checked in with me, go back out there and do the same thing again, and find something to connect with somebody else and have another, one-on-one conversation. And that for me is helpful. But that's how I connect, like in terms of like a smaller group. But for me, like I also do like workshops and education stuff, which requires me to like stand in front of a room full of people and like talk for extended periods of time. But I think the reason I'm able to do that is because I've been practicing for so long. Like I've been an introvert all my life, so I would say I started doing workshops. When I started doing workshops, I don't even know. But I started doing workshops at least more than 5 years ago now. And before doing that, I had to practice like gaining confidence. I had to practice being able to be comfortable being who I am in front of other people. And I think the more you practice doing it, the more amounts of people you can build up to. So from going to like, a one-on-one conversation, you can build it to a whole group. And what I do in a group setting, if you're curious, is if I'm doing workshops, I connect with each person, but I connect with them differently. So like when I'm looking at each person, I feel like I'm having personal connections with each of them. So even when I'm scanning the room, I'm not just scanning the room like aimlessly, like I'm actually making eye contact with different people, which I know might seem terrifying and like counterproductive of the whole thing about being an introvert. But for me personally, I think about it, and I think it's also mind frame. Like I think it's also like how you frame it in your mind. Is I think about it to me as like connecting personally with each person, and I like personal connections rather than like big connections. So I think when I think about it like that, it makes me personally feel better. But not everybody needs to stand in front of rooms and like run workshops and stuff like that. I'm just trying to like help y'all figure out how to be yourself in a public space at a social event. Honestly, I hope that this was helpful. These are only like 3 tips really. It's not that many, but let's start there. But I just wanted, after talking to folks and like thinking about like how I'm trying to work on being more confident in front of the camera, I'm trying to work on like, not, I want to say just confident in front of the camera, because that's not really the issue. It's more so I feel like I'm a really quiet person, and I have to build up to feel comfortable to talk. So like even before doing this video, I had to do a few things to feel comfortable talking. And I imagine if I had to vlog all the time or shoot videos all the time, it would be a real struggle for me, because I'd be like, how do I get the energy to keep up with that, even though it's just me by myself in this room right now. But to me, it's still the equivalent of like being in a space with like other people. So yeah, I'm thinking about it in terms of like myself and how I've gotten this far, and I want to share those tips. But also, like I said this before, I believe that part of Sunday self-love is like I'm on this journey with y'all. I'm still learning with y'all of like how I can best be myself in a public forum all the time, and like that's still a work in progress. And I'm hoping to figure out how to do the vlogging thing. I'm working on it. Anywho, thank y'all for watching my video. I'm so like happy that people watch. I mean, I ain't got like tens and thousands of subscribers and things like that, but y'all still watch me and it makes me happy. But yeah, thanks for watching another Sunday Self-Love with me, Zamar. I'm still working on how to be unapologetically tea, so I wanted to share a little tad bit of information with some things I do and some things that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to figure out how to do more of. And if you have any tips for me of like how I can get more comfortable with this whole camera thing, please let me know. But I know like y'all probably like, I don't believe this girl, she's like totally lying, but trust and believe, I'm an introvert, I'm not lying. But I hope to see y'all in another Sunday Self-Love. Till then, take care and keep working on loving yourself. Bye, loves.